There's a great event that takes place every year, and it was done at the promontory, but now the promontory is defunct, and they're no longer doing it there. But it's called Marche Prive, and it revolves around culture and fashion, and it's Derby Day, so people dress up, and there's stuff for sale, and it's really really dope. And this year, instead of it being at the promontory in Hyde Park, it will be in Bronzeville at Gouchard, Gallery Gouchard. I don't want to say it backwards. And joining me now are Maureen, Peter, and Chris. Chris Curse, Peter G, and Maureen. And welcome to the program, everybody. How y'all doing?
Pretty good. How about
Great.
you?
Good, good. Maureen, I want to start with you. Could you please, and I just kind of did it, told a little bit about what the event is, but can you talk about the history behind it and the origin of it? And even though it's not at the prom anymore, the wanting to continue to do it. What is going on with all of it? Ooh, you got to unmute yourself. You're a professional radio person.
Oh goodness, I am. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
you get it.
my background. I'm so sorry,
It's
everybody.
all
So
right. It's all right.
I'm happy to talk about the history of Marche Prive. It is a market for vendors by vendors. So pretty much myself and Peter, like we've done hundreds of markets all over the city of Chicago and beyond. And we've learned a lot in doing those markets. We've learned about things that we enjoy and things that we might not enjoy so much. And we just kind of put our heads together and wanted to create something different,
Mm-hmm.
something that was a little more elevated and specifically elevated on the south side of Chicago. So the idea was for us to have a market with all BIPOC vendors, local vendors in a very elevated space, which would allow them to be, more of a luxury feel, right? So we wanted it to be multi-sensory indulgence when it comes down to the music, light bites, cocktails, and the types of vendors that you're going to see. So this market is highly curated. Each vendor is handpicked based on their creativity, the way that they present their brand, and the uniqueness of their brand. So at Marche Prive, what makes us different is you're going to see the best of the best when it comes down to the fashion designers in this area, jewelry designers, people that make home goods, beauty products. So it's really elevated. So really happy to be doing this for the fifth time. Can't believe I'm saying that it's five.
Mm-hmm.
But that happened very quickly. But yes,
Right.
we wanted to keep this thing going, especially after the closing of the promontory. It was, that was a little bit devastating for us, but
For
we,
you? No, I'm kidding.
exactly, Mario. But we're excited to be at Gallery Bouchard, a Black-owned art gallery in Bronzeville on the south side of Chicago. So very excited to have a new space to have this wonderful event.
One of the things that I have always wanted to ask when you look at how it's laid out, again, it's Derby Day. So Derby Day is already a thing, and it's becoming more of a thing in Chicago than it's been in the past, I believe. That's like, that's the day. Not to mention if you have a good horse in the race, you might come up with a little bit of cash at the end of the evening. But why, what was the impetus for doing Marche Prive? What was it that you said 5 years ago, like, we should do an event around the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, and I know Peter could speak to this too. We wanted to do something elevated. We wanted to be super fancy, and we wanted a theme. And we said that we were going to do this thing twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. So it was like, what happens in the spring where people can come together and just, you know, uh, be indulged in luxury all around them and dress up. And Derby Day was the perfect timing for that. So right there in the beginning of May, that's when the weather starts getting warm. It's not quite summertime shy yet, but it's just nice enough where you feel like, kind of popping out a little bit.
Yeah, it's getting there.
I was gonna say too. I think coming out of the pandemic where we just were at home and we had all these clothes and people were still shopping, but we had nowhere to go, nowhere to wear all of these things that people were making and designing and had bought. And so we wanted to give people a space where they could dress up again because, we got used to just being very casual.
Very, very, very casual.
But
Um, I think too when we start talking about people need to remember the pandemic was devastating, and
Very.
everybody was looking for a place to kind of like stretch out. The whole refrain of "we outside" is kind of getting overdone because we've been outside now for a couple years. It seems most folks, but and when Marche Prive was happening, there was also a lot of just like, are we really going to be able to do things like this? And the demand for it kind of made it easy to go, yeah, let's see what happens to see how many people actually fall through. And I can remember the I can remember Maureen hitting me every other day about, yeah, how many people, what are we doing? Where we at? And I would be like, relax, we're gonna be okay. But when folks show up and they actually came to the event, just the idea that they got a chance to um see it happening, and see people happy and clean, and you got Tess spinning her head off, the DJing and all that, and Chris running things, being the MC. I know that you are a busy cat and you do a lot of stuff around the city, no doubt. But this was even then. It was like, wow, is an event big enough for Chris Kirst to show up? What what was it for you that drew you to Marche Prive and what Maureen and Peter are doing?
Well, I initially was elated at just the idea of being a part of it. As an artist myself, of sorts, I enjoy being around other artisans and whatever I can do to promote people's creativity being shared. I'm all in. Uh, this one in particular, the Derby Day experience really spoke to me because of the idea of that elevated elegance and to see the increase of people's interest in the Derby in the Chicago area. And I said, wow, this is really a great opportunity. And then for me, I'm always trying to figure out how to connect different community leaders and community activities to sort of what's the cross section. And then I thought about the Southside Sanctuary, which is just on the other corner, and it's an outdoor space. And everything about the Derby is, in addition to the race, it's also about the fashion and the grandeur. And hats are really important. And I thought how cool it might be to do a hat show in an actual fashion forward show featuring hats, but to do it outdoors at the Southside Sanctuary. So that then to create a bit of a promenade from that experience, which will kick off the day, and then everyone follow the models down to Gallery Gashard, 1 block away. And
Wow.
so create a whole moment and a creative vibe that welcomes this annual activity that we do with Marche Prive.
I know that I will not be able to attend, I think, because of my new employment. But um, I'm going to miss the camaraderie, and seeing folks just genuinely, truly happy to be out and about and kicking it. And again, if you've never attended one of these, the fashion is real. If people get real serious about this event, and I was like, I think it was a little bit of a surprise initially. I'm like, man, folk dressed up early in the morning. This is okay. We're doing things. And I know, real quick for Peter, I know that you are also a very, very busy person. Lending your effort to something like this, what does that do for you? How does that make you feel? And especially considering you have a lot going on, my friend.
Right.
Yes, I mean, it feels great helping to support other Black and Brown businesses in the community, always trying to amplify Chicago-based businesses. But we do have some really dope vendors that are traveling here from other states, which kind of like helps make us feel good. Like, okay, we are really doing something that people want to be a part of, and we're making a an impact. And we're always trying to give Chicago some really cool stuff that they can't necessarily find here all the time.
Yeah.
So I know one of the milliners we have that's coming in from out of town. She comes in maybe twice a year um, to Chicago to vend. And we're just really honored that she's coming and making the trip to sell at our event. Um, but just, I mean, I have the shop at the L1, and I think it just helps again amplify that the business that is needed on the South Side. We want these type of events. We want shops to open up. We shouldn't have to drive everywhere to get cool fashion and good gifts and things that are designed and made by us.
Absolutely. Maureen, I know it's at Gallery Gouchard over in Bronzeville, but what time does the event begin? And a little bit more about what's happening at Southside Sanctuary, too. Shout out to my people over there at Southside Sanctuary.
Yeah, so the day kicks off at Southside Sanctuary right on 47th and King Drive at 11 a.m. So it's going to be kind of like doors open at the sanctuary. It's going to be a meet and greet, and people can kind of get settled. And then at 12 o'clock on the dot, there is a beautiful fashion presentation hosted by Chris Curse. And then we have models by Embody Queens that will be actually doing an actual fashion show featuring Suzette Art Couture, our hat milliner vendor. Their hats will be featured in the show. So that happens at 12 o'clock. And then at 12, oh, and also, we also have a food truck on site at the Southside Sanctuary. Homegirls Hummus will be on site, selling some light bites to kind of get the day started. And then at 12:50, when the fashion show is over, everybody is going to be literally walking down 47th Street in a fashionable promenade with music, or the big hats, and we're going to be, probably stopping traffic a little bit.
That'll
Yeah,
work. That'll be all
I'm
right.
yeah,
in trouble, but
for
we're
sure.
going to walk 1.5 blocks right to the gallery as
That's
we
right.
open, and that was a very strategic move. And thank you so much, Chris, for your vision and for bringing this to life, because the thought was we want our vendors to be greeted with a crowd immediately when doors open at 1 o'clock. We don't want them sitting around hoping and waiting. I hope people show up. Oh, it's already been an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So this move was very strategic. It was very much on purpose for us to be able to provide an engaged crowd at the doors opening at 1 o'clock at the gallery. And then the actual event, the main event, Marche Prive, goes from 1 o'clock until 5 o'clock p.m. So we have a different time slot than usual, which we hope will provide a little more ease to those who are late risers and some time to get up and get out, because I know how Saturdays can be. So we're excited about that time slot, and yeah, it's going to be a great day.
I gotta run. Thank you all for being on the show today. I
Yeah,
really appreciate
thank
you
you.
all. I love all three of you, but I really, really,
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate you. And I hope everything works out well. And I guarantee you, you will absolutely have a crowd, because when they see people walking down 47th Street in that high fashion, it's going down. Worry not. People will be looking. Y'all have a great
Yeah,
one.
All
Thank you,
right,
thank you,
thanks.
thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thanks,
much.
Mario.
Bye, Maria.
thank
Absolutely.
you.
And see you all
Have a great,
soon.
awesome. Thank you.